What's up, folks, and welcome to Indie Ramble. So, I've got another twin stick game for you today, and this one I thought was kind of cool when it came across my radar because, well, it involves mechs, and who doesn't love shooting things with giant robots, right? So yeah, this is, I think it's Uragun, might be Uragun, I'll call it Uragun, sorry if I screwed that up. And this is the first title from a new Polish studio, and it is in early access right now. It's got most of the core gameplay systems and whatnot in place already, but they are promising over the next probably year or so from when I'm recording, a lot more levels and environments and things to basically flesh out the full campaign. So it is single player only, and it's a dystopian world, and you are a mech that awakes and is looking to find its pilot, and you come across another entity that is sort of helping guide you through, and you're trying to reclaim this world that has been destroyed by, a killer robot army. That's basically the idea of it. And you do this by going through a series of different missions which have different objectives and taking out a whole bunch of bad robots along the way. That's the core loop of it, which sounds pretty simple, and I suppose it is, but there is some depth here in terms of how you can approach it. So you have a number of different weapons and special abilities that you can unlock, and you accomplish those by not only getting through the missions, but each mission has some collectibles in it, most of which to this point I've found are not really that hard to find. And if you get those, you can unlock new weapons, new modifications for said weapons, and a whole bunch of additional power-ups that you can use to sort of enhance your combat ability. You can go back to previous missions as often as you like, so you can grind out anything that you're missing, or there's also a scoring system in the game and a ranking system that you can, if you want to go back and do subsequent runs to try to up your score and your ranking, you can do that as well. Though, at least at the present time, there are no online leaderboards, so that's really sort of for your own personal sense of accomplishment, if you want to do that. And you see, you're seeing here as we go that there's already a fairly decent variety of enemies in this. So the campaign still has a lot more levels and environments to be added. At this point, I believe it's 20-some levels or so to go through. I've been playing the game for only a couple of hours, and I've done all but a handful of levels at this point. And I actually got access to this game, what would it be? I guess a couple of months ago from when I started recording, and it's a little concerning for the fact that I don't know if the game has had any updates whatsoever since then. It seems to be coming along very slowly. Now, this is a small team that's making this, but, that's something to keep in mind since this is an early access title. The pace of updates seems to be a little bit slow. I have no reason to believe the game isn't going to get said updates, but it's something to keep in mind anyway. And the core loop of this is good. It's a twin stick game. The controls are responsive. I am playing with a controller, though keyboard and mouse does work very well. They have accommodated for both, which I always appreciate. And the controls are responsive. There's a lot of different enemies. You will sometimes have very large waves coming at you, and you'll have to sort of do a lot of crowd control and really make use of not only the weapons you have at your disposal, but your different abilities. So you'll see in the upper left there that there is both a combo meter, but there's also, and my health meter, but you'll see that those little orbs filling up beneath it. So you may have seen that the enemies drop these sort of glowy shards when they die, and by picking those up, you start to fill those up. Each use of that allows you to either utilize your special weapon, so there's one of my two there that I have selected, and my other one is a kind of sword thing where I'll dive forward and slice at guys for significant damage. You get one use of your special weapons from each of those, or you can also use one of them to give yourself a segment of health back. So on every level, you do have 3 lives. The way it interprets that is that your mech will get knocked down, and you have the ability to just get yourself back up and get back into the fight a certain number of times. If you want to avoid that, you can try to keep yourself healed up. You do take a score penalty for every life that you have to use, so that's something to keep in mind as well. And there you go. When you're done, you end the mission, and it sort of tallies everything up for you. you'll see that there are those intel items in each level, and if you can collect all of those, you'll get yourself an unlock like that, and you get ranked at the end. So that's kind of the core thing. And then when you're in between missions, that was actually a new level I did there. So when you're in between missions, you can go in here. So this is kind of a cool system. You have what are called expansion cartridges, and these are just mostly passive abilities that will do things like give you a fire trail behind you, or boost, increase your boost ability, things like that. And you only have so much space to do these, and they each take a certain amount of that space up. So you have to juggle these to make sure that, to try to get the effects that you want while staying within the capacity that you have. And you have, these are your different special abilities that you have. I only have 3 unlocked at this point. You also have a number of different weapons. There's going to be more weapons added, but they already have a few in here, and they are all very, very different. And they play very differently, which is quite cool. And then as you'll go, you can also unlock different upgrades that you can apply to the weapons. And you can change these around as much as you like. And they give you a whole bunch of different options. And you'll see here, you get the ability to upgrade some of these slots by picking up the intel items in the level. I've got quite a few of these stacked up at this point. So now I have all 3 slots unlocked, though I do only have 2 weapon mods for the shotgun, so I can't use them all. Then you also have what are called memories. You'll find these. These are a little bit more hidden in the levels, and they're these kind of neat looking little comics that sort of give you a little bit of backstory into what's going on here and what's happening with your pilot, which is who you're trying to find here. Unfortunately, only one of these comics is actually available right now. You can pick up the bits for the other one. I'm missing one here, but they're all just placeholder except for the first one. So that's something that will get fleshed out over time as well. And there's different regions that you can jump through. That's the one I was in there. But you see, I've unlocked another section over here. And these are all in different regions of the world, so that was kind of an Arctic environment I was in. This one is more of a sort of, I guess you'd say, standard sort of post-apocalypse cityscape type thing. And again, this is more of the stuff that they're going to be adding in as they go. So, as a fan of twin-stick shooters, what do I think of this? This game had a decent amount of buzz when it was announced. It's actually won, the early versions of it have won several different awards, actually. And I've been playing this, and here's the thing about it in its present state. This is not bad. Not at all. It runs well. It's got the core twin-stick loop down quite well, in my opinion. There's some nice enemy variety. There's some good customization that you can do with your mech. There hasn't really been much story yet, but in most early access games, getting the story fleshed out tends to be something that comes late in development, so that I don't mind very much. It's fine. It honestly is. The problem that I personally have is that in its present state, fine is kind of all I can say about it. This is not a bad game. It doesn't play badly. I think the graphics style is a little bit plain, but it's fine. I think the sound effects definitely need some work. I don't think they're nearly punchy enough. I think they all sound a little bit flat to me. But it's competently done. It really is. But there are a lot of twin stick shooters out there right now, and in its current form, to me, this just doesn't feel like it does anything particularly interesting or different. The customization is nice. This sort of interesting idea of having a power system where you can either use your special weapons or recharge your health is kind of a little bit different. But there's just not... this just feels, unfortunately, very bog standard to me in terms of a twin stick game. It has a story that I don't know if the story is going to end up being any good or not. We don't really know because we're nowhere near the point of that being completed yet. And the slow pace of updates has definitely been a little bit concerning as well, given that they guessed that it would be 12 to 18 months to get this thing to 1.0, and unless they plan to do so. Different developers do early access in different ways. Some of them do very frequent updates. Some of them do fewer updates that are much larger in nature. You know, you'll get like a humongous content drop once in a while, as opposed to a you know, a drip feed of other ones. Shoot, I missed the intelligence there. Oh well. So I'm not sure what the plan is with this game, but at this point, it just feels unremarkable to me. Now, the reason I'm doing a video on it, granted, fairly late compared to when I got it, but the reason I'm doing a video on it is I see the potential in this. Well, for starters, I think this is something that others might like more, even in its current state. You know, there's a lot of buzz around this. There was a lot of buzz around this game anyway, and people seem to generally be fairly positive on it. So I always say, you know, when I do videos, I don't do videos anymore of games that are objectively terrible, because I just don't see the point in that. But I will cover games that don't necessarily click with me, but that I see real potential for. Where either the game could get a lot better so that I end up being really impressed with it, or that I think others might like, even if I'm a little cool on it. And that's kind of where I am with this. I see the potential for this to become a really impressive twin-stick game with potentially a cool story and a bunch of different environments, and if they can expand out that customizability for your character even further, I can really see this having potentially a lot of replay value as you choose to build your character in different ways and progress, you know, different ways, maybe even play it through multiple times to try to apply different strategies to it. This is a game that actually would really benefit from co-op. I don't believe that's on their radar, but a game like this with co-op would always be nice, even if it was local only, because games like this are really good to play with friends, because they're, you know, they're straightforward enough that you can play. This is a game you can play while you chat with somebody or something like that, right? It doesn't require hardcore concentration necessarily to be able to figure it out. And yeah, it's got real potential. And being an early access game, they claim that they're interested in taking feedback from the community, so you know, a lot of people treat early access as a good time to get on board so that they can feel that they're really contributing to the development process in an active way. I'm rooting for this one. Let me put it that way. I think there's real potential for something really cool to come out of this. And there's a good framework here. There's good bones here. But just in its current state, it doesn't have more than a couple hours worth of content. The lack of online leaderboards kind of makes the scoring system not terribly compelling. The upgrade system is nice. That's actually fairly fleshed out right now. But yeah, the story really hasn't. I can't really comment on it because there isn't enough of it in this build to do that. And the slow pace of updates is definitely something that I find potentially a little bit worrisome. Yeah, this is a neat environment here. This is where you're in like a kind of a cyberpunk city kind of thing. I like this one. So yes, again, great potential, and that's why I wanted to show it to you, because if you've really played all the twin stick shooters you can find and are really craving another one, well, this will probably scratch the itch for you, and it will hopefully grow and mature and get even better as time goes on. But if you're someone like me, if I had gotten this in its current state, if I purchased this in its current state, I probably would have played it for a while, and honestly, I probably would have refunded it on Steam and just said, okay, you got something here, but I'm going to come back and look at it later when you maybe have put a little bit more into it. And that's just the way I think about it. It's not bad. It's far from it. It's just not remarkable, is the way I would put it right now. And given that this is one of the various sort of more old school genres that seems to be having a little bit of a renaissance right now, there's a lot of options for this kind of game out there. And this is going up against some fairly stiff competition, and I think it has the potential to hang with those, but it's not yet. And it needs more. And I hope they can get it. I hope we start seeing some updates and communications from the devs fairly soon on what they're doing with this. And I hope this can grow and evolve into something really special. I really do think it has that means. So keep, you know, if you're into twin stick games, maybe pick it up. If you do feel you want to contribute to the development a little bit, then give it a try. If not, though, and you are a big fan of the genre, I would keep your eye on it. You know, maybe give it a wish list on Steam, give it a follow there so that you can keep your eye on it. Maybe join the Discord and see what the devs have to say. There really is something here. It's just a question on whether this somewhat unknown developer at this point is able to capitalize on that. And that's always the risk of early access. So we'll have to wait and see where it goes. So, but yeah, that is Uragun or Uragun, not sure which. It's out in early access on PC right now. No announcement for versions on any other platforms. I presume if they do that, it'll probably be when it's out of early access. But, you know, again, give it a look if you're into the genre. But it's a weird bit of a conundrum when I can look at a game and go, yeah, I can see why this could be cool, but it's not there yet, and I don't know if it's something that I should recommend to people. But in this case, I'm going to leave it to you, you know, and that's really what this is about, is to showcase something like this and let you decide what you think is going to work for you or not. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I do appreciate it. If you liked what you saw here, please do all the normal YouTube things. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Leave a comment down below. Tell me, what do you think of this based on what you've seen so far? Do you think I'm being too harsh on it? Do you think it has... do you see the potential in it? Or, you know, are you someone who's played this already and actually think that there's more on offer here that I haven't really considered? Because that's always possible as well. I'm always interested to hearing feedback about that. And always drop your favorite twin stick shooters in here. There may be some out there that I haven't seen yet that I would love to get an opportunity to play with. And as always, you can follow me over at twitch.tv/pxabstraction for multiple variety streams a week. I cover indie and retro stuff over there, including a lot of things that you won't see here on YouTube. I have a fantastic community there, and I'd love to see you be a part of it. Thank you for watching again, everybody, and I'll see you on the next Indie Ramble. You folks have yourselves a great one. Take her easy.